Guys, so welcome back to another lesson. Today's lesson is over Unit 5, Lesson 3, which is our third type of linear equation of standard form. So, the past couple of lessons we have been talking about slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, point slope form, which is y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. And so now we are on to a third type, which is standard form. And you do need to, we got a little sloth giving us some advice. We do need to be comfortable with all three equation types. All of them are used in algebra. And so you will need to feel comfortable flip-flopping between all three. And you'll need to know their names. You'll need to recognize them as point slope, slope-intercept, and standard form. So how we know we're successful today is, number one, I can write a linear equation in all three forms: slope-intercept, point slope, and standard. I can convert between three forms of linear equations. Also, slope will come into play. Slope is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And I numbered each one of these equations so we can kind of keep referencing them. So let's fill in some notes real fast about standard form. So let's see. So in this, let me highlight something real fast. Let's get this yellow. These are capital letters here, right? They're capitalized for a reason. These guys, A, B, and C, are all integers. Okay. And so let's just remind ourselves what an integer is. An integer is a number that does not have a decimal, and you can have a positive version, like you can have a positive 2, and you can have a negative 2. Those are integers. So all of these are going to be some sort of integer. There is a little asterisk that we got to add to this one. This one can only be, it can only be a positive integer, okay? So let's see. A must be a positive number, okay? It cannot be a fraction. It cannot be a decimal. It's got to be some sort of positive number, right? Let's see. Okay, so the steps to calculate these. First, if they have given us 2 points, we're going to have to calculate slope. Okay, so this is our equation number one. We have to, calculate slope, and then you're going to choose just 1 point. And if we know slope in 1 point, we can write the equation in point slope form. Okay. And so point slope form would be my equation 2. That's why I numbered them, 1, 2, write the equation in point slope form. And then once we have point slope form, we can convert to slope intercept. Okay. And so slope intercept, I numbered that 3. Coincidence? I think not. And then last, we can convert to standard form. Okay, so we can convert between all of these, and you'll need to feel comfortable flipping back and forth between them. And then just make sure, again, that A is a positive number. Okay, and if not, you will have to, convert. You're going to have to convert to a positive number, and I'll show you examples of that. Now, I'm recording this ahead of time, so of course, because I'm recording it, you can certainly pause this to catch up on your writing, because I know I might be going a little fast, or I guess I could be going a little slow too. Let's go ahead and go to some examples. So I'm going to clear this off so I can slide on down. Okay, so this first equation is, convert to standard form. Let me go ahead and I'm going to write my equation types. Okay, so actually, I might go ahead and pause the video right here, and then I'm going to write some equation types and come back. Okay, so while I was paused, I went ahead and wrote out all my equations so that we can look at them and we can constantly reference what our equation looks like and what kind of form it's in. So I want you to notice this guy here. We got y minus 4 equals 3x minus 2. And so if we look over here, we can see this is not a slope. It's not written like that. Okay. We can see, oh, y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. It does look like point slope. Okay, so that's the form that they gave us. It does not look like this. It does not look like y equals mx plus b. And it does not look like ax plus by equals c. X and y are on the same side with standard. X and y are on opposite sides with slope-intercept. And x and y are on opposite sides with point slope. So each one of these are arranged differently. So we'll constantly be referencing those so we can make sure that we know and understand, how to compare them. So we can tell this is in point slope form. I'm just going to go ahead and write a number 2 next to it because that's the form of the equation that it's in. So when I look at this guy, the first thing that I've got to do is I've got to start breaking all this down. Because notice, for us to get to standard, there is no parentheses. We can't have parentheses. Okay, so we've got to break down those parentheses. So let's see. When I distribute this out, my 3 times x minus 3, and then we got y minus 4. I'm going to move my 4 over, and that's going to get the y by itself. Now, if we inspect this equation right now, we can see that the y is by itself on the left, the x and the constant are on the right. That looks like slope-intercept. Okay, they look the same. The y by itself, slope is m, x, and then b is the constant here. So that is going to be now at equation 3. Okay, so we've gotten to this form and we didn't even really realize that's what we were doing, but that's what we're doing. So now we're going to convert to standard form. So we're aiming for what that 4th equation looks like. We're going to arrange everything until the x and the y are on the same side. So to get the x and the y on the same side, we're going to move this x over. So how we do that is we're going to subtract it, but we've got to subtract from both sides. This gives us negative 3x plus y equals 1. You might think that we're done, but we do have a little bit of a conundrum here. The x must be positive. So in order to get rid of that negative, what we can do is we can multiply this whole thing by negative, or we could divide each term by negative. Okay, both of them will accomplish the same thing. Let's say we're just going to go through and divide everything by negative 1. This cancels here, and we get 3x. This flipped the sign of that y. That positive y divided by negative 1 is going to give me negative y. 1 divided by negative 1 is going to give me negative 1. I divided by negative 1 just because it was multiplying. But if it's me that's doing it on my own, I probably would have just multiplied by a negative. And let me show you why. If we multiply this by a negative 1, that becomes a positive. That becomes a negative. And then this becomes a negative. Okay. So that was 2 ways that we could accomplish the same thing with removing that negative. All righty. So we have this in the right form. So yay for us. We did good. Okay, let's look at example 2. So example 2, it says we're going to write an equation in point slope form. Remember, that's going to be equation number 2. It looks like this guy over here. And then we're going to write it in slope-intercept and then in standard form. Okay. Slope-intercepts are equation 3 and standard form's equation 4. We're just going to go down the line. We don't have to use the slope one yet because they gave us slope. Thank goodness. Okay. So our point slope, so we're going to start here with point slope. We get y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. This is my x1. This is my y1. So I'm going to take my y minus my y1. Now, when I do that, I got minus a negative 9. My slope was 3/2 x minus x1. So we got x minus 4. Okay. So let's go through and simplify this a little bit for y minus a negative 9. It's going to be y plus 9. And now we can distribute this. Okay, so we got 3/2 x and then 3/2 times negative 4. We can do a little scratch work over here. So when we're multiplying fractions, remember it's like this. We got, I don't know why I put a negative there. Let me erase that. The negatives on this guy times negative 4. Remember this 4 is really over 1. So we're multiplying 2 fractions. We just don't write the 1 because that's just not how we write them when we got 1 on the bottom in the denominator, right? So remember how we multiply fractions in, back when you learned how to do fractions several years ago. We got 3 times negative 4, okay, and 2 times 1, so that's 2. So this is going to be minus, this 4/2 is going to reduce down to negative 2. And I know lots of students are highly allergic to fractions, okay? Lots of people do not like fractions. If you're one of those that likes fractions, good for you. Okay, so we got into point slope form, okay? Like we can see, we can double check, see what we did. Y plus 9, so wait, we got y, okay, so we got the y and the y1 together. The reason it's plus 9 is because it was subtracting a negative. We got a slope times x, okay, and minus 2. So we had all of this right here. We got it into point slope form. Now we're just going to go on and convert to slope intercept. So that's getting the y by itself. So we got the the x's on the side and the constant. So to get the x's are already on that right hand side, but we can move this over with the constant. Okay. That's going to give us y equals 3/2 x minus 11. Okay. I'm going to just put that there. So this was, if I write this over again, where we got a little bit more room. This is my slope-intercept form. Okay. This was my second equation type. So we need to get to standard form. That's where x and y are on the same side. This x is a fraction. Fractions are good for graphing slopes, but to get to standard form, we got to get rid of that fraction. So this 2's down here in a denominator. See, there's no fraction here. You have to have like a positive whole number. I'm going to multiply this whole thing by 2 to get that. It's really 2 over 1 to get that 2 to cancel out. So this is going to give me 2y equals 3x minus 2 times negative 11 is 22. We can move this 3x over. But we do have a dilemma. We've got negative 3x plus 2y equals negative 22. We cannot leave that negative in front. It saves us room if we just go ahead and multiply all this by negative 1. Rather than doing like the dividing by negative 1 that I did on the previous one, it saves us room on the page to just multiply by negative 1. So when we do that, Negative 1 times negative 3x. It's going to give us 3x. Negative 1 times 2y. It's going to give me negative 2y. Negative 1 is going to be times negative 22, and that's going to give us positive 22. So you might be noticing a pattern. If we need to get rid of this negative in front, like this, we had this negative 3y, we can't have that. We ended up just flipping everything sign. So it's like negative 3 plus y equals 1. We just flipped the sign. So the negative 3x became positive 3x. The plus y became negative y. The positive 1 became negative 1. It's the same thing here. Negative 3x became positive 3x. Positive 2y became negative 2y. Negative 22 became positive 22 because we multiplied everything by negative 1. So it flipped everybody's sign. Okay, so that is our final form. So this is form 4. Okay, this was form 2. This was form, I think I wrote 2 here. That was 3, and then this is 4. So we wrote down all 3 types. It was a little messy, but we did it. Okay, let's do example 3. Let's see if I can switch colors here. So they want us to write it in point slope, slope-intercept, and standard, but look, it's got 2 points. Oh no, we're going to have to start up here, okay, with that because they did not give us a slope. We're going to have to do everything. Oh my gosh, we're going to have to start at the very beginning. But we can do this. Let's see. So equation 1, I've got to find my slope. When I do -2, that's like -2, 5. Those are my points, 6, -7. This is my x1, my y1, my x2, and my y2. Let me erase this so I can write down a little bit more. Okay. So remember, my equation is y2 minus y1. That's a negative. x2 minus x1. And so that's going to give me -7 minus 5 divided by x2. We're going to do 6 minus a -2. So that is -7 minus 5. That's -12. 6 minus a -2 is going to be like adding 2. So that's 8. Our slope, we can reduce this, is going to be 3 halves, and it's a negative. Okay, so we got -3/2 as our slope. Sweet heaven. We still haven't done all the rest of it. So let's go on. Let's switch colors here. And let's do number 2. So we got to write it in point slope. Point slope looks like this. We've got that. So we're going to do point slope. And that's that y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. So my y, we just write that there. We're going to do, we can pick a point, and it doesn't matter which one. I'm just going to pick this one here. It's the first one I come to. They both have negatives in it, so there's no way that we can just avoid the negatives. If there was one where we could avoid negatives, I would. Okay, -3/2 x, and it's minus, but this is a -2. Okay, so remember, when we minus a minus, it's really adding it. Okay, so we've got our point slope form. We just got to simplify it a little bit more. And so let's see, we got y minus 5, 3/2 minus 3/2, x plus 2. Okay, so that is our point slope form. Yay, we got that. So now our next step is that we're going to go ahead and switch colors, and we can go to our slope-intercept. So we're going to convert to equation 3. Okay, I've got y minus 5 I need to multiply this stuff out. So 3 halves, negative 3 halves times x, negative 3 halves x, negative 3 halves times 2. If we do a little bit of scratch work over here with fractions, let's look at this real fast with our fractions. We have negative 3 halves times 2. That 2 is really over 1. So when we multiply these, it's 3. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. 2 times 1 is 2. So that's going to simplify to negative 3. Okay, we're almost in slope-intercept form. So we're going to add the 5. This cancels. And we get y equals negative 3 halves x. Negative 3 plus 5 is plus 2. Okay, now that's our slope-intercept form. Yay, so we got that. So that's our equation here. Got this one, we got this one. We just need one more. Okay, we're going to go to standard form. Might have to write on the other side. It's a little hard for me doing this on the computer to fit it all in here. Form. Okay, so when I look at this, we got y equals negative 3 halves x plus 2. I need to get this 2 out of my denominator because my x does not have, or my a over here with my x does not have any fractions. So I'm going to multiply by 2. It's going to give me 2y equals negative 3x plus 4. We're almost there. Plus 3x plus 3x. It's going to give me 3x plus 2y equals 4. Okay, that is my standard form. When we go back and we look at this again, okay, I can see I've got my x and my y on the same side. Okay, they must be on the same side, and my a must be positive. So we may, this is positive here. Okay, slope intercept, we got y equals a slope times x, and then the constants, we can see that looks like slope intercept. We can see what the one with the parentheses, we can see that here, point slope form. And then slope, we did that scratch work. Okay, you may need to pause this while I go and clean up some of this work. We're going to go on to problem number 4. Okay, so you may need to pause this. I'm going to have to probably erase a fair amount of this so I can have enough room. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and erase all this here. All righty. Let's start at the beginning. Okay, so it did not give us a slope. That means that we've got to start up here with slope. Okay, so this is my, here I can just go ahead and start over here. This is my slope, y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And so we have negative 3 . So this is x1, y1, x2, y2. Let's go ahead and put this in. So we've got negative 4 minus 8, 5 minus a negative 3. That's going to give me negative 12. 5 minus a negative 3 is going to give me 8. This is going to reduce to negative 3 halves. And so that was equation number 1. We can put it into point slope form. Let me go ahead and change colors real fast. We'll put this in pink. So we have point slope. We're going to do y minus y1, I'm just picking this one here, equals the slope x minus -3, which is going to be the same thing as adding 3. And remember what I'm doing when I'm writing this. Remember, I am just simply using this over here, y minus y1, and I labeled this y1. M, which is slope, x minus x1, and this is my x1. So I'm just, plugging stuff in. That's where that comes from. Okay, this is my point slope form. Yay, we did that. We need to convert to slope intercept. So let's go ahead and change the green. We're going to do slope intercept. I probably didn't need to write all the way over here. Remember this, all of this that I'm solving is actually quite problem 4. I should have written it more by 4. Okay, so slope intercept. We need to get where y is by itself on this side and equals mx plus b. So we're going to start just kind of combining all these things together. Okay, so -3/2 times x, -3/2 times x, -3/2 times a positive 3. That's going to give me a -9/2, which is kind of awkward, but we can do this, okay? And so we are going to add 8 to both sides. Okay, this is going to give me y equals -3/2 x. Remember, 8 is the same thing as 16/2. So if we had 16/2 and we added -9/2, that's going to give me 7/2. Okay, which sounds complicated. It's not too bad. This is my slope intercept form. Okay, so we got that answer. This is my point slope. Now, last but not least, we're going to convert to standard form. So the trick that we're going to use for this, because we've got these silly fractions, we've got 2 in both the denominators. When we multiply by 2, it will take those fractions straight out. So 2 times y is going to give me 2y. 2 times this is going to cancel, okay? So we're going to get -3x. And then, 2 times 7/2 is going to give me +7. We're super close now. We got to get our x and y on the same side. So we're going to add 3x, add 3x. This cancels, and we get 3x plus 2y equals 7. And that is the end of the notes. Until next time, bye.